again, you have your arterial afferent coming in, and then you have ultrafiltration. So you have, let me draw one capillary. So this is your one capillary, and from that capillary, because of increased hydrostatic pressure, things will be coming out. And the thing that comes out, we call it glomerular filtrate. So it's got a fancy name, glomerular filtrate. Okay, you are literally filtering things out. So whatever is coming out, generally we call it a filtrate, but glomerular filtrate. So now remember we said that everything comes out really. It's ultrafiltration except large things. So how does it stop you from having large things? It's like a sieve. You know, the sieve has small holes, small pores, small gaps. So large things can't get through. So this is my capillary blood. This is the blood here. There's the cells that lines the capillary. Let me draw it bigger. So this is the cells lining the capillary, and these cells are called endothelial cells. Between the endothelial cell are small, tiny, weeny gaps, and you might have heard that before. It's called fenestration. Fenestration are those small gaps between the endothelial cells of capillary. So we think capillary is like it's a blood vessel. There's no gaps in between. Actually, if you zoom into it, there are small gaps between the endothelial cells. So that's an endothelial cell. Endothelial cells makes that capillary wall. So between them, there's small gaps. We call it fenestration, and that allows things like, you know, sodium, really small, to get through. That allows things like water to get through. That allows glucose to get through, urea to get through. The massive things, like really big molecule, you can't get to the gap. So like red blood cell, white blood cells, proteins, albumin, they won't get through. If they do, it's a problem. That means there's a problem with the gap here. Okay, so then what happens is, that's one mechanism. It stops large things from getting through. There's a second layer of protection. After that, there is a membrane, and we call this membrane, let me call it BM for now, basement membrane. That's the second protection. Remember, it's so important. Your body does not let through large things. If it does, it's a mess your body up. That's why you have 3 layers of protection, making sure nothing big gets through. So the first thing is that those small space fenestration in the endothelial cells of the capillary. Then what you have is a basement membrane. It's a membrane, another small spaces to make sure that nothing big gets through. Maybe this part failed, maybe something went through. That's fine. We have a second layer, a second check. And then the third check is here. This is the Bowman's capsule. The cells that is making this Bowman capsule, it's got a fancy name. We call it podocyte. Podocyte. Now, if I was to zoom into it, now in here it looks like a one straight line. There's no gaps. There is gaps. So if I was to zoom into it, let me do a different color, blue. Podocytes are like this. These are the cells that makes the Bowman's capsule wall. So these are podocytes. Between the podocytes, look, there is a small gap. And that gap allows you to take in your sodium, your water, and so on. So that's a third layer. It's a small gap, only to allow smaller things to get through, not large things to get through. That's a 3 layers. And now you have your filtrate here. Which filtrate? Glomerular filtrate. And that goes through the tubule. So this here, the Bowman's capsule, all of this, remember, it's not blood vessel. It's a separate tube that will make the urine and go to the bladder for you to pee out, and so on. So in here, this is a Bowman's capsule or renal capsule, and then we're going to see what happens when it goes through those tubules. Remember, this process here, we filtered it out, is called ultrafiltration. There was no measurement how much water to filtrate, how much sodium to filtrate, how much glucose to filtrate. Glucose should never be in the urine, but for some reason it gets through. It's quite a small molecule.